Welcome, 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 my lovelies. Thank you for joining us today on this chat. I'm here, as I said, with the beautiful Kim Ruwa Konsten. And Kim is a passionate medicine woman. She, of course, is a light language activator, a light language healer, practitioner. Not only that, she hosts and is a cacao priestess. She hosts cacao ceremonies, and she's a priestess of that also. And I believe, she'll tell us about it later, she's running a workshop in that as well right now. She also has an Akashic record reader, a Reiki master, and life coach. And she's been telling me that part of her whole purpose here is in continuous search of more magic. And she really has a passion and a purpose to carry out the intention of supporting souls worldwide to live a joyful and sacred life so that they remember their true divine potential. Kim?
Breathe that in for a sec.
Does that describe you a little?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I could have added a few more things, but that's perfect for who I am right now. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so delighted to have you here, Kim. And the reason I connected with you was because I had you come into my awareness. And the moment that happened, I went, ooh, Kim is here. I need to connect with this woman. And I'm just going to share a little bit about that in a moment. But I would like to ask you, is there anything else you'd like to share with the people watching as well right now about yourself, in case I left anything out? Maybe even like, what is medicine woman? What is that?
What is medicine woman? Yeah, you asked me that question, and somebody asked me that on a podcast recently, and I was like, yeah, what is that actually? So my business was called Ruwa Coaching until the 11th of the 1st, 2022, when I changed to Kim Ruwa Medicine Woman. And it was simply because I felt like coaching no longer reflected everything that I'm doing, that I'm sharing. Medicine Woman, I was born in Zimbabwe, and I'm very much being called to connect back into those shamanic African roots of the lands I was connected to. And specifically because I've been working with cacao for quite a few years now and other plant medicines, I was like, yeah, what kind of encompasses who I am or what I am becoming? And the word medicine woman really came to me. What it means, I'm still uncovering myself, to be honest. The word medicine really means, yeah, the medicine of the soul, and whatever that is for a person in a certain moment. And that can be energy work, it can be a plant medicine, it can be anything really. It can be dance, it can be movement, it can be voice. So medicine I'm taking as quite a broad word, if you will. And woman, well, because I'm a woman, that's how I chose to incarnate, at least in this lifetime. So really owning that piece of myself, which took me quite some courage, let's say, to actually change my Instagram tag, if you will, and be like, oh, am I doing this? And then I got so many beautiful reactions of people that I was like, yeah, this feels right for me right now. And I'm gonna sink into that, tune into that. So yeah, that's medicine woman.
Wow. I love that, because I feel that sometimes it's the biggest initiation we can be, is to feel into, I suppose, a purpose that we hold, or an energetic imprint that we hold, and that can change as well. So people kind of can know that as we grow, expand, and change. You know, I kind of go, well, what would I call myself? I'm like, sure, next week it could be different. But right now, this is what I'm embodying, and this is what I'm bringing to the table. And I feel that when you're sharing about Medicine Woman, because I love it, I resonate with it. Thank you for that.
You're
Thank
so
you for that.
welcome. Yeah, we're very aligned there, because I also don't know what it's gonna evolve, transform into next week, let's say. So yeah, I've learned to take things very much as what feels good in the moment, what's aligned right now, and I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, and if that changes tomorrow, well, okay, I'll take the next step then.
Mm, yummy.
Yeah.
Of course, you and I, we know each other because you joined the light language level 1. I think one of my first, or at least one of the first light language workshops I held. And you also did level 2, didn't you?
I did.
And that's how I think we had a connection. Even before then, I remember we met, I remember maybe 2-3 years ago on a sacred sexuality womb healing course with a lovely lady called Anna Loza, I believe.
Yeah,
And I think that was our first connection, wasn't it?
it was
Um,
indeed. Yeah, you and your sister were on it, and
that's right. Yeah.
and I had lived in Ireland for a long time. I was like, oh, the Irish accent, I do miss it. And then, yeah, I don't know. I started following you, and then light language popped in my energy field, and you with your course, and I was like, I have no idea what this is, but let's dive in and just see what it is. So I dialed in from
Uh,
Cambodia at like midnight for the calls.
I remember I was like, this
Yeah.
woman, she is a powerhouse and she is committed to this expansion. And by
I
golly,
was,
by
yeah.
gosh, your light language,
Mm,
which we will share later on, ladies and gents, is so pure, and you bring in such beautiful energies of clearing and
mm,
expansion. And I want to kind of say, this is the word that I'm feeling, holy priestess codes, actually. I don't know if you've heard that before, but that's what I
mm.
feel when I've heard your
I
light
welcome
language.
those. Yes, please.
So we will share that at the end, ladies and gents. And I'm going to kind of get to why we're together today.
Please
Why
do.
did Kim come into my mind? Um, Kim, you came into my mind and I said I wouldn't share this and maybe I shouldn't.
I knew
And I
you
think
were gonna do it anyway, so don't worry. Yeah.
I'm like, what's the truth? So I have to share it.
Yeah.
So I was on the loo. And you know, our mind moves places when we're doing our private practices. And the reason I was thinking about you in
Mm,
that sacred space, because it is a sacred space, was I had just come home from, I should say, come back to a home, my home here in Ireland, from Spain. And I've been living abroad for quite a number of years, as I know much of your story has been living in many countries as well.
yeah.
So it's almost like when you have that type of living, you have a home in many places. And sometimes the home that you're not in for a long time, you kind of don't look after it. You're not there to look after it physically.
Yeah.
And you maybe only tune into it when you're visiting. And that's what I was kind of doing. I was spending a weekend here and a weekend there. It wasn't really living in it per se. And I had people that would come and stay, you know, sometimes family members, sometimes friends. But I also had, I rented out a room at one stage. And when I came back here, the person had been gone for over a year. And I won't mention any names now or anything like that, but this is why. And this person, when I had brought them into my home, because of course I wanted to align with whomever I was going to allow into my home, I knew that she had deep medicine roots within her, whether she was aware of it or not. She was a powerful
Mm,
energy worker, even though that's not what she did. She worked in some type of HR and IT. So I felt that I was leaving my space in good hands at that time. Now, this is pre-pandemic,
mm-hmm.
pandemic, whatever word you want to use there. And I realized when I was living away on my hubby, we just check in with each other. You know, I wonder, you know, is the place okay? You know, you'd send the odd text. And it was him that came to me actually. And he goes, I'm feeling something's off at home.
Mm,
And I said, well, sure, we're going back for a weekend to visit family during COVID. This was during COVID. And it was kind of around that quarantine escapade where you could stay at home, right? You didn't have to go to a hotel. So we let her know. And the fear was incredible, beyond comprehension of anything I've ever experienced. And I work with people in trauma, you know, I've done that type of work.
mm,
And I was like, wow, the hubby was spot on. It was him that intuited this.
mm.
And we were banned from our home, essentially, which is a bit ironic. Our
Wow.
doors were
Yeah.
locked to us. And we were saying, what in the name? And I am, of course, my background is actually I'm an expert in risk assessment and management. I worked in construction for 10 years, highly, highly high risk industries, including pharmaceuticals, including clean rooms, including viral, everything. I had done everything. So I had assured this woman with my background, which was, you know, I had over 10 years in very high risk situations. I knew how to carry out one. Including in the medical field. So I had set in for her, this was for her, not for us, for her ease of mind, a risk assessment and a control measure, and everything was reasonable according to my knowledge background. And it was shut down, everything you could believe. So this is a story of fear. There was no breaking through the door of fear with this soul. Of course, my heart went out to her and I had conversations in compassion with her, but was met with that dissonance, was met with that pushback. And in the end, it came, you know, a bit of time elapsed where we were like, this is ridiculous. We actually quarantined in Northern Ireland for 10 days, came back down, still wasn't allowed in to our home. And we asked her quite nicely to please remove herself, that I was living in my house and it was no longer going to be rented. And I stayed for, at that time, a month here. And in that month, I was, you know, clearing, cleaning, quite busy, but not really energetically. I had done it kind of lightly. I did a light energetic clear where I thought this is fine. What we didn't realize was, as we left again and traveled around and came back and traveled around, the imprint that gets left behind and the cords and attachments that people form with homes and possessions and places, they can create vortexes of energy. And I know I'm going to ask you to go into this because this is what I discovered now, a year later, that this person who is a beautiful soul, but deeply in fear, wasn't letting go of the fact that she felt we had pushed her out of her space into a pandemic, almost like she was a refugee. And I know this is a weird word to use right now because we're seeing it around the world, but that was the energy she felt, you know? And of course, with our homes, there are sacred spaces. Yeah. Boundaries are really important. And that's what we needed. We needed to reclaim our sacred space back from an energy that wasn't going to meet us halfway, even though we're in compassion for that person. But that was not a game. It was not our reality that we were going to play into any longer. When I came back, everything started breaking in the place that we're here. Now, this is a bit of a long story. We're nearly done. The door broke, the bathrooms broke, everything was falling, breaking, and the windows weren't opening. And I was like, okay, I know the place hasn't been used, but my sister has been coming in and out and using it maybe the odd time. So I was like, well, you know, it should be okay. And I started questioning my own energy then. What is it that, you know, where my boundaries weak? If my door is breaking, you know, I go through this. This is a practice. And it was like, that's not fully that. The hubby came home a few days later and he's like, there's an energy here. I feel oppressed. I feel like I walk into this room and my energy contracts. He's like, I don't feel well. And that's when it was like, this isn't about me. There's something here. And being somebody that works with energy, I was like, why didn't I pick up on this sooner? But at the time, I was working through quite a lot of grief as well, from deaths in our families, and I was putting it down to that. And once he said it, instantaneously, I had the whole flood of information come through, where this was opening, where there was a cord, where I could visually see actually her movements in the space, her anger, because there was so much anger, the slamming of the doors where they broke. I was seeing the energetic imprints in the home. And I was seeing the thought formations that had resided in pockets here. Our consciousness that we energetically shit. We do energetically shit if we're not careful. I call it energetic shitting. And I was like, wow, when I did that clearing, I didn't really pick up on all this. And I did it. And within 3 minutes, it just took 3 minutes, ladies and gents, the space was clear. My husband said, wow, I can breathe again. And this feels like a joyful home space because our space is beautiful here. But I wanted to talk about it with you because this is what you do. This is what you've worked at. Because I remember you saying that I never left my whole thing, and you're the expert in this. And maybe somebody that's watching this needs to hear it because maybe they're also experiencing something along these lines, especially because you might have family members that are in fear, or family members that are feeling that frustration or anger right now because of what's happening in the world, because of what's happening within.
Mm.
and we need to give it voice. That's me done. That's the whole reason.
Mm.
What can, what would your take on this be? What do you do, maybe, if you wanted just to share that right now with people when you work on
Absolutely.
homes?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. That's I would almost say like a classical example or scenario of how a house can pick up on things. So, yeah, kind of like a brief summary, I suppose, as I started working with the Akashic Records, in first instance to work with people
Mhm.
and read their past lives and do all kinds of energy clearings of patterns and programmings and all kinds of stuff. And then as kind of like a side chapter, if you will, property clearings were also offered in this training that I started doing. And I
Mm.
was like, okay, that's interesting. When we work with a person, we can clear their energy, and also the space is actually important because it supports or not supports a person. And so I started doing these property clearings for myself and for clients, and I've seen a range of different things. There are so many situations that, well, first of all, actually, what I'd like to say is, so the Akashic Records, for anybody that doesn't know, is like an etheric database
Mm.
of souls, beings, and houses as well. So you can literally kind of like, I imagine it as like I'm logging into the records, like I'm logging into my computer, and then I'm tapping into the chapter that's about a certain house. Or it could be a restaurant, or it can be a spa. It can mean any type of space, really. And then once I've established the house, I can go in and I can detect a series of different things that can be going on in the space energetically. But before I go into those, there are so many different situations that can cause a house, the blueprint of a house, to pick up on things. For example, a big fight that's going on, a divorce, maybe somebody has passed away in a
Yeah.
house, maybe um, there's some kind of big shift happening, whether that's a transformation of a person going from one job into the next. Like it can really be endless different situations. It can be from the earth that the
Yeah.
earth that the house is built on. So it can be from centuries, if not thousands or millions of years ago, in which the purpose of the soil, the land, is no longer in alignment with the house or the space that's built on it. So that like there's layers, there's lots of different layers. And so to give you some examples of clients I've worked with, oh, people would come to me, for example, oh, my child is not sleeping because they're seeing things or they're mentioning things. Even if they're very small, you can't really know because they might not be able to speak yet. I've had clients that were unable to sell their house, like months
Yeah.
and months and months on the market. And even though there were people coming to visit and look at the house, any contracts would fall through. I've had clients come with problems of like pests, rats in their house, or builders not coming through, contracts being signed, and then for whatever reason, things just not happening, and so forth. So, like lots of different situations in which a house clearing can really be supportive. And so there's a range of different things, and many of them you mentioned already. And again, I'm looking at it from a certain modality that
Mm.
I have learned. So there's probably other things
Mm.
that I might not typically channel. So whatever comes up for you, trust that, trust your intuition, trust that that's happening as well. Well, bear with me as I just give a few examples.
Please do.
Um, for example, portal ways can show up in a house, and a portal way I see as like an energetic door. And
Mm.
there needs to be an energetic door for something, entity, thought form, to be able to come into your house. So they often show up in like little dark corners or behind a mirror, or like I did a clearing. I now do clearings. I'm in Ibiza in an Airbnb, and the moment I arrive, I will do a clearing because I just don't know what has happened here before. And yeah, there was a soul hanging around, and there was a bunch of different things. I'm like, oh, interesting, and it immediately changes the energy of the space. So yeah, a portal way can show up, and they can close and open like periodically. They're like funny little magical doorways, if you will, but not the kinds that you actually wish to have in your house. So you can detect them, and you can close them. You can have thought forms come up. They can be independent negative thought forms, which is like collective thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I often see it as like we can have like a cartoon. A cartoon will have this little like thought bubble. It can be a thought that we have, but we can also have this massive clouds that we can tap into, like say anger or fear or sadness or any range of negative emotions that we or a person inhabiting the space can just be like, oh yeah, I believe in that. They kind of like cord up into that negative, independent negative thought form. And that then sits like a dark cloud in your home, impacting people subconsciously. Like you may not be an angry person, but you may have felt, or a fearful person, but you may have felt those emotions when you came into your space.
Mm.
Because most likely this person that was inhabiting your house before might have tapped into this independent negative thought form, or they may have just had negative thought forms, which are slightly smaller in energetic size, let's say, that you then pick up on, which are never really welcome, but they happen. They simply
Mm.
happen because of human life, and we just go through our cycles and our processes and our things. And yeah, it's not always rainbows and sunshine. That's just human life, but we can do something about it. Um, there can be souls, earthbound souls, so souls that have passed at some point in time, but they actually haven't passed. So
Yeah.
they have left their body, but their actual soul is still on the earth.
Yeah.
So, for example, you may be living in the house that you grew up in, and maybe your grandpa died or passed away in a very sudden way. And when a soul doesn't have the proper time to, kind of like when we're born, we have 9 months to get used to the fact that we're actually going to be a human being, right? But when we pass very abruptly, whether that's through some kind of accident or violence or simply a disease, we may not have the time as a soul to go on back to the light.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're very attached, we're very fearful, we're like, I don't want to go anywhere, I'm just going to stick around. So you may have a soul of somebody that you actually personally knew, yeah, spooking the house, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be an independent earthbound soul that's perhaps from previous people that lived in the house from a longer time ago, or simply a soul that's, yeah, making its way on earth and it's like, I need energy. So I'm going to tap into a house because that's where I can get energy. And they'll also be flying around, spreading some type of energetic blueprint, which is what we don't wish to have. And then there's plain disruptive souls, earthbound souls that are just going to create havoc, chaos, stuff just happens, things may be breaking, all kinds of things can
Poltergeist,
happen.
they call it sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mm.
similar words,
Mm.
similar concept. And then let's see, yeah, I'll tap into three more things. Anger spheres
Mm.
are typically from people
Yeah.
outside of our home. So they can be living, in this case for you, it could be somebody living in your house and that then has left physical space, but they're actually sending these little darts of energy
Mm-hmm.
of anger towards your house. And it could be, I don't know, a neighbor that's jealous or a colleague from work or like anybody that, again, usually on a subconscious level. So I'm not trying to like put people, well, people are not always aware of what they're doing energetically. I think that's a very important thing to just mention that
Mm-hmm.
yes, we can have people that are on purpose
Mm.
starting stuff our way. In most cases, it's not a conscious process that's happening. It's simply because there are unresolved emotions and they need some type of outlet. So that happens just come into our house. And when we are in some form or shape fragile, we may accept those anger spears and be like, oh yeah, there's a reason for anger to show up in my life. So, okay, I'm giving that a place again on a subconscious level for that to be in my house. And then there's a concept called gateways, which are like a portal way, but like the gigantic form of it. If if your portalway is like a little countryside road access to energy, this is like a massive 6-lane
Yeah,
highway.
I've come across that. Scary.
Scary, and it can really impact a lot of practical processes in the house,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, what I was mentioning before, oh, you may have people coming in to do some work on your house
Mm.
and it just doesn't happen. Or things keep breaking, or even manifesting powers can be affected massively. So abundance, a business,
Mhm.
especially if they're in a business. I've done clearings for businesses as well.
Mm.
A bunch of stuff can,
Illness,
illness as well.
disease. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've come across that. Hmm.
huge discomfort,
Mm.
like you would find them. I think you mentioned something behind a TV or something,
I
like
did.
central places,
TVs are
or
vortexes sometimes.
exactly, or in like a cupboard or something, or a
Mm.
wardrobe. They can show up in any type of place, but typically I find they're like in slightly more hidden places or behind a painting or something. And so it's essential for these to close because, yeah, how many people can fit on a countryside road? And how many people or souls can fit on a 6-lane highway? A lot more, right? So,
Yeah.
and then the final piece that I usually tap into is what is happening with the land. So,
Mm.
the assignment of the land. And there's typically three assignments that I come across. It can be a sacred site,
Mhm.
in the sense that it was probably previously used as some kind of church, or there was something like a church or a mosque or some kind of religious, let's call it, that building was yeah, created on those grounds. And a church, how can I say this, if the ground, if the land is not reassigned to, oh, this is a space to live and a space to work, you may feel like a trespasser in your own house. You may feel, uncomfortable. Again, permits, delays, all kinds of stuff with practical things around the house can happen. So a sacred site, even though it sounds very charming, it's like, oh my God, I'm on a ley line or a sacred site or something. It's like, it sounds quite exotic, but actually it does serve you to reassign. And you can do this yourself as well. It's like, yeah, you can tap into my resources and what I can do, but much of this people can do themselves as well. The intention is what counts in the end.
Yeah.
And then we also have a battleground. So perhaps in some time dimension, there was violence going on this land. And so upheaval, desperation, aggression, sadness. You may have a bunch of souls in your house. Like I've had cases where there were like 7 souls or more hanging around a house. Well, yeah, if it was a battleground, people were probably shot or died exactly right where you're living. So that also is highly suggested to get that reassigned. And then, of course, a burial ground as well. Maybe there was a cemetery, or maybe there was an unofficial cemetery where people were left, where their bodies were left to be decomposed, again, composted by Mother Earth. Also, that, of course, can bring with it a lot of, discomfort, frustration, anxiety, and so forth. So, and stuckness,
Mm.
and many other things. I'm just touching on a few.
It's vast.
Um,
It's so big.
it's
Yeah.
never ending, really. It's eternal, the possibilities and
Yeah.
things that can happen. So yeah, that's my nutshell version. I can go on
Whew.
for a few hours, but yeah. So
Right. Well, unfortunately, we just have an hour. So
yeah, I
what
know.
I love what you shared. And it's not my area of focus, right? But I've come across it. It's something you're going to come across. The gateway
Yeah,
one, when I didn't know what that was and I came across it, I was, that threw me for a loop.
yeah.
And bless the poor soul in their house, they were being bombarded nonstop. And in
Mm,
a way, though, there was a soul contract there with that gentleman. And part of his role, because sometimes when you go into this, was to he was a gateway keeper.
mm. That's funny,
I know.
huh?
I'm not going to get into that here, but there was sometimes this is very interesting at a soul level as well, and
Yeah.
also our empowerment. And as you said, everybody has the power to do our own clearings on our spaces. We are not at the whim of what's happening around us. We are divine and we are so powerful. And it can take 3 minutes, like I said, it's that fast once you become conscious and pure in your intentions with it. And in a moment, I would love, or maybe we'll do that now. I'd love for you to give some tips or a process
Yeah.
that some people can maybe take on their own, and then we can do some Q&A. I see some coming in.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I was thinking that before I came online. I'm like, yeah, this is a specific process that I've learned, and I'm not really at, well, copyright and stuff to share this exact process. But there's a bunch of different things that come to mind. So we were just, before we were coming on, we're like, oh, we had a little energy spray. Like, it's something so simple. You can make your own or buy one, and you can use an energy spray
Mhm.
for the surface level, just spritzing up a little bit of positive energy in your house. You can use sound. So I have my rattle here. I like to go from, I'd like to open my doors, my windows
Mhm.
from the front door, and I typically, even though there's no wrong or right, go anti-clockwise through the rooms, and I just go
Ah,
like alongside the walls with either a rattle or a Tibetan bowl or my drum or a smudge stick of some sort, or your aura spray, maybe your voice. Like, you might not have anything at hand. You can go through the space and you can call in whoever you wish to, from archangels to the violet flame, like, you name it. Use your intuition. Again, whatever will come through for you, trust that that is what you need. And you just go through all the different rooms alongside the windows as well to just clear everything. You can create an invocation yourself and just ask that the higher
yes.
powers help you to clear the space, to bring it back to its most divine, pristine form. You can add an intention to it. That's what I ended up doing with, or I still do. I ask my clients, okay, is there a specific intention that you'd like to infuse into the house? Oh, yeah, I would like to invite more love and more abundance and more creativity. Great. Just ask for that and ask that that be there. What else can you do? Yeah, if you work with certain beings, whether it's angels or fairies or unicorns, the dragons we talked about
Mm.
briefly yesterday as well, you can ask the divine dragons to come and clear your house physically, in the astrals. Like, literally, if you even just do a little Google, 10 ways to clear my house, you can use a diffuser. You like, there are so many possibilities. So there, yeah, I'm going to be direct, Dutch and direct. There's no excuse not to clear your house. There
Mhm.
are a trillion
Regularly.
ways
Mhm.
regularly. Yeah, I kind of go at it intuitively, because I do the deep clearing. Well, I don't see the need to, well, I see it like a spring clearing. I do like a spring clearing maybe once or twice a year. And because I do a lot of ceremonial work, yeah, I have my smudges. I smoke cleanse quite regularly, or with sounds as well. So just to name a few. But
Mm,
please share any other ways that you have with us
yeah.
in the comments. I'd be super interested.
Love to hear other people's ways, because culturally you might have a specific cultural way. Like in Ireland, it was
Yeah.
quite common to put salt on the four corners, and at specific dates where there would have been an affiliation
Yeah.
with probably pre-Christian, right, pagan energies or
Mm.
entities, which were then subsumed into the Christian tradition. So they would have a saint's day, and on this saint's day you would bless the house at the outside of the door. You'd walk around it 3 times as well. Three, the number 3 being important,
Interesting.
clockwise, as you said, anti-clockwise. And intention was for health, prosperity, and all energies to leave as the doors and windows were open, like you said. So culturally, we might have traditions that were
Yeah.
there for a reason, and through the generational mind and culture were passed down. For myself, I use light language, and I know you probably do in
Yeah, no,
your
of course.
way. Yeah,
Yeah, of course. I didn't mention it. Yeah, you're here to
yeah.
mention that.
And it's there's a whole section on actual sacred sites, opening and closing vortexes, clearing spaces, clearing homes, clearing businesses in light language level 2. In just how I do it, there's no right and wrong way. This is what Kim is saying. It's merely
Mm.
find something that resonates with you. Intention, number
Reiki
one.
as well.
Reiki, symbols, light language drawing symbols, put them at the front
Yeah.
door, put them in the rooms. Like, this is endless in how you can do it.
Yeah.
The most important is probably the clear intention, speaking to the energies. Hello, energy that's here. I'm sorry that you're stuck here. Forgive me if you've been stuck here.
Yeah.
I'm only seeing you right now. I do not give you permission anymore, and I love you, and I send you back into the light. Like, it's so simple.
Mm.
Everything is consciousness, and it
Yeah.
just needs love. Anything that's in darkness it's been forgotten, it's been wounded. If we speak to it, we bring it home.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
so simple, you know. There are just some, like, I love how we can have different ways. There's no right and wrong.
No, and it's
It's
beautiful what you
play.
touch upon, yeah, because these souls are just stuck
Mm-hmm.
because the way that they died was just not in a, yeah, it was just not a beautiful way, unfortunately. So actually, and that's what I tell many of my clients, I'm like, you're not just doing this work for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
These souls are just stuck for who knows how many centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not able to move on. So you're literally allowing a new little soul to be born somewhere else on the planet. Who knows when, you know? So it's such beautiful light work as well.
Yeah.
And another piece that just came to mind as well. Don't forget the physical element of your house as well.
Right. Clearing and decluttering and cleaning.
Decluttering, people. It's like, go grab that brush and
Dust.
well, yes. Well, yes.
Accumulation of objects. I have a lot of declearing still left to do. So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. The physical layer, the spiritual layer. Yeah, there's so many layers to it. So what can you get rid of that is no
Absolutely.
longer serving you that could serve somebody else?
Yeah.
And yeah, I know that's maybe a touchy, iffy point for some of us, but yeah, it needs to be said.
I'm also just, it's popping into my head on one of the, I think it was level 2. Laurel, actually, she's doing the art in level 1. She was talking about a girl that brought home an object. The object had been used in rituals and had energies, entities within it. And then she brought it into the home. We don't realize sometimes, like, again, that was a clearing and release into the light, but like, wow, there's so many ways this can happen. This, again, let's go through some questions, Kim, unless there's
Please,
anything you'd like
yes,
to, yeah,
please.
yeah,
No, go ahead.
okay, and then we're going to go into a transmission. And
Please.
don't forget, I want you to share your amazing offerings with these people as well that want and need your energy right now. So we'll get to that as well. Don't let me forget.
Right.
Okay, so hello, beautiful people. Hello, Aluna. I'm thinking about you this morning, and I will contact you. Bea, hello. Oh, you joined Light Language last night. I cannot wait. Olive, hello, my darling. Anna. She's saying, this can't be more apt. I can't seem to break through the stagnating procrastination of clearing clutter, dusting away accumulation, and flipping washing up. Oh my. So sometimes our own stuff can come up as well, like our own energy clearing and healing is just as important as the house decluttering, clearing. What is it that we're afraid to let go of is what I want to say to Anna. What is it that we need and want to expand into? It feels, Anna, from my point of view here, you're on the verge of a massive expansion, actually, another one, because I know you've done my light language course as well. I can feel you on like this tipping point edge, and you're using the word procrastination. Like literally will blow away the cobwebs around any fear of growth or what we're letting go when we do grow. You've no specific question, but I'm just kind of playing with you when I say that. Anna says she has a question. Let me know what the question is then. Suzanne, watching my son play Dark Souls game that show energetic imprints reminds me of what you're saying. Okay. Thomasina, she was an interior designer. I didn't know that, Thomasina. She's an amazing artist.
Oh, that's been my wish forever, to work with an interior designer or with real estate agents and do property
They're
clearings. Because,
conscious.
like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, so please, if anybody knows anybody, send them my way.
So important right now. I would say that is a total market for that. And Anna makes aura sprays. Ashleen says, if there's mirrors, do you have to cover do you cover the mirrors during clearing work? If there's a mirror.
I have never come across that, to be honest. I don't think so. What it could do, it could actually amplify the clearing, I would say. But
Mm-hmm.
again, if for you it feels right to cover the mirrors, then there might be a reason that we may not be able to understand. So then do that. But no, I typically don't cover any mirrors.
I know when somebody dies in Ireland, again, this is a tradition. In Ireland, they would cover the mirrors, and part of that was to do with the soul not getting stuck
Yeah,
in the mirror.
fascinating. Huh?
Funny, isn't it?
Yeah, interesting.
And a sign of respect as well. Bernadette, when I was younger, I came across lots of spirits in new houses. And some of them could be aggressive. Okay, I'm just seeing, is there questions? Diana's saying she's using light language, and she was clearing with that. Wonderful. And Anna is using the spritzes and sprays as well. Kira, what do you do if you come across an angry spirit who doesn't want to leave?
That's a good question. What comes to me now is, can you have a conversation with them? Can you send love their way? And this may not be a once-off, like, oh my God, then they're done. But when a soul is angry, yeah, there must be something that has happened in their past that they're still very resentful about, and that they may actually project out into your space as well. Like, oh well, this person's not going to be any different. Like, how are they going to help me? So, what would love do is a question that I like to use. What would love do? Maybe there's something that you can offer them to sweeten their soul. I don't know, put out a few candies at night, or a glass of milk or some cookies. I'm literally just channeling this right now. You're gonna have to try and see what works for you, but mainly love and understanding. Maybe asking some questions. Maybe there's some unfiltered writing that you can do to help them process through you. Again, protecting your energy well, but allowing whatever the story is to come through them, and then maybe doing a little fire ceremony, burning that story, giving it back to Mother Earth. Yeah, oh, I feel that in my whole body, so that seems like something that could really, really work.
Beautiful. It brings me back to in Bali when I was there, on how they lay out offerings as well to appease and to acknowledge energies like that as well. I love the conversation one for me with angry spirits is a big one. And love, the love balm. So I agree with you on both those. Asking what it needs.
Yeah, beautiful.
And bringing in forgiveness. Sometimes spirits don't realize they want to be forgiven, and they need to forgive themselves to let go.
Yeah, I feel that one deeply as well.
It's a big one. And
maybe they have actually committed a crime or hurt somebody, and that's why they're stuck, and they just don't know and cannot know what to do. And you're there, you've attracted them in a way into your field, into your energy as well, because there's something that you can help them with. So
they're lost. Yeah,
they're lost.
And there's a choice. Sometimes they will transmute, move to the light, and sometimes they won't. But that's where the boundaries come in then, where you bring in your
you're no longer
protector.
welcome.
Or you can yourself, this is something I show in level 2 as well, we can open another doorway into another dimension where they can still go on their evolutionary journey towards the light if they're not ready quite then. And so they're not stuck on earth plane anymore. That you have the power to do that, right? Through intention, imagination. And calling in any energies you want to help. The I am. It doesn't have to be angels if you don't believe in them. The I am, so powerful. Sadie is saying a good thing. She's saying, cover a mirror or TV if they're facing you when you sleep. I would say yes for the TV for sure, especially if it's been on and there's been violence and programming, subliminal programming going through, because I mentioned that you could feel it in the room after I had the TV on. I was clear after the TV was on. Probably when we're watching scenes of violence right now in the world, a really good thing to do. So thank you for that, Sadie.
Just get rid of the TVs, full stop.
Big
but yeah,
thing.
I know we all have devices.
Yeah.
So,
we might do, I'm just looking at the time because we want to do a transition.
Let's
Donna, maybe the last one here. Donna, we're renovating our house and it's very stressful, problems with the builders. And it's taken my full attention. Now we are trying to find a builder to finish the build so we can move on with our lives. I'm feeling stuck and feeling sick for ages. This is what I needed to hear. Oh, no question on that. Okay, good, good.
Yeah, see if you can do a little ceremony, offer something to the house as well. Again, make it your own. I have no prescription, if you will, but just put in your love. Like, ask, you can even talk to the house. What is it that they're asking for? Who knows? Maybe the previous owners did a bunch of renovations without any respect or honoring the house.
Oh, yeah.
maybe there's something that needs to be changed, that you have had an idea of, like, oh, the door needs to be there. Well, actually, what if a slight tweak?
So true. I mean, that touches on feng shui, but also
Yeah.
in, I'm going to go to Irish tradition as well.
Yeah, please do.
Dowsers used to be used in Ireland, you know, the dowsing rods, and they would have been used to place homes and find wells and ley lines. Where are they in relation to? And then this ancient knowledge has been lost, so much of it, but it's coming back. And it reminds me of Bali again, where they would actually ask the spirit of the land, where does this house want to go? What direction does it want to face in?
Yeah.
And how many rooms? Like what you're saying, there's so many cultures that have this knowledge. It might look different, but yeah, it's so true. Love that. Um, Asking the house for permission as well. Can I?
Yeah.
May I love you. Thank you. So easy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
because the fact that they have their own chapter in the Akashic Records makes them a being, even though it's a
consciousness.
creation of us as man, you know. But so what is there that is perhaps not in our current habits, traditions, that we, yeah, that we could change, so that we're respecting our spaces
Hmm.
even more?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Love it, Kim. And finally, last question. Kira mentioned about the angry spirits. Um, and Kira, before we even answer that, I will say sometimes you might want guidance, as in a mirror for your own inner empowerment. And, you know, I'm a mirror, Kim is a mirror. And sometimes seeing it done once, then you're totally able to do it again. So if something is there, please contact, if Kim is okay for me to say this, I mean, book a session, right? Um, Kira, how do you protect yourself from going into a clearing if you're in a space that you feel they're following you around? What would you say with
Mm.
that, Kim?
I would say use the protocol or the energy shield protection ritual that you use before you would go into a light language session, or that you would use before going into an energy healing session. Perhaps you may wish to add a specific phrase that gives it like a little oomph, let's say, to just make it a little bit stronger. But I wouldn't, yeah, the way I go into the records is a very clear, I'm going in to the records and I'm going out. So it's like a very transactional kind of way that I do the clearings. And I'm very, my spiritual hygiene in that sense is, my boundaries are very, very clear. So yeah, I don't know why that's coming up, but I guess you
Important.
need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
That it's, you're making a space for it, you're going in, you're clearing, and then you're closing off again, so that it's a finished process, so that you don't leave any loose ends, let's say. Yeah.
Big time. Another
Mm-hmm.
way to maybe kind of say that would be that when we say the words we're creating sacred space, Kira, what we mean by that is, for us in the human form, we create a little ritual, but just the intention of, I'm breathing in, I'm centered. In this space, I have no fear. And the breath, okay, you're breathing in. I now create for me a space of absolute love, truth. I am protected and safe in this space. I invoke my I am presence. You can light a candle, you can spritz yourself, like we said. And that clear intention there of sacred space, nothing can hurt me in this space. You can look at me, follow me around, whatever you want, energy spirit, but I am, I am. I am all that I
Mm-hmm.
am, I am. And then I do not give you permission anymore to be in this space. I'm sorry if you're caught here. I'm sorry if all that you know is that you want to follow me around. Like, you talk to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgive you. And please forgive me if you're in pain, but it's not my job, right? Or what do you need? You can just have like you're speaking to a human. And if you're feeling anger, I'm sorry you're so angry. You haven't felt heard, maybe. Maybe you're feeling alone. Maybe things didn't work out. Maybe you're angry you're dead, and I'm sorry for that too. Please forgive me. What else do you need? Love. And you just talk to it as if it's something that needs to be seen, acknowledged, heard, loved. Often the energy starts to soften. You'll see that it's been like that. It'll start to open. I now call in light. I now call in source to bathe you in love and light. And I release you. I let you go. You are no longer given permission to be in my space or my home. You breathe, you soften, I release you, and then you close it down like Kim said. And I use like we're going to do a transmission now. We're going to do that, Kira, right? We're going to do, so set your intention now, whatever that needs to be. And Kim and I are going to bring through a transition. It will move from us to your homes, those of you watching. We'll close this, you close the space afterwards is what we're saying. So this sacred space is now closed. Blow out the candle if you have a candle. And come back into the body. I am safe, I am loved, I am clear, my home is clear, it's safe, it's simple. Right, Kim, will we do a transmission?
Yeah, and just to add to that, the acknowledgement piece came through for me very clearly as well. I see you, I hear you, I witness you. This may be the first time in centuries or in I don't know how long that they have been seen as a being.
Chills when you say that. Yes.
Yeah.
Whew. How would you like? Would you like to go first? Will we do it simultaneously? Would you like to open space? Would you like me? You just let me know, Kim. I'll follow your lead on this.
Yeah, I'm feeling called to start, and kind of what we discussed beforehand as well. May this be a transmission that you can repeat whenever you feel called to.
Yes.
In your house, for your restaurant, for your yoga space, for your sacred space, perhaps a ceremonial space that you're holding, a workshop, an online space. This can be like, it's multi-purpose. So anybody that's watching, yeah, just taking 3 deep breaths. Just centering into your being. Just bringing the intention that you have for your space in your heart. From your heart, it's flowing right into the earth, into the sacred lands. It's flowing up into source, to the cosmos. We're going to ask Spirit to open up the Akashic record for your space in this now moment, so that we can do beautiful energetic clearing. I tap into my I am presence, and I ask to be a clear vessel for light language in this now moment. Yakarasiona kitianaka, huiurana kitikiana sikiana naya, huitikiana nasikiona kitikiana naya. You may wish to make, like a brushing kind of shape with your hands, allowing energies to just flow off, flow out back into source. Tiorana kitiana tikiona tikiana tikiana nora tikia. Mihurakiana tikiana sikurati. Tiana tikiona tikiana nayatako. Piorana kitiana tikia. Sending love to all beings, entities, thought forms, anger spheres, portals, gateways, and any other non-benevolent, energetic stuff that is no longer welcome, that is no longer in alignment. Asking the lands to jump up and open up their energy so that they can be reprogrammed, realigned to the space, to the purpose of the space that you're in right now, or that you're clearing at this moment.
Menoni eti autoko shutokoto kotoko hoko usukotina This is safe. This is sacred. You are all protected. We invoke in the dragon energies of earth and protection. We invoke in the protectors of all homes and businesses. Those energies that are no longer required, as Kim said, we release with love. As you breathe in, your breath is like the air. It is like the fire that burns away all energies, thoughts, contemplations not serving. Breathe them out. Imagine that going into every home, nook and cranny in your home, every space. Mongojondo Makiandalaso Ndema Hawaii Kahanda Malawasu Kandai Hanroma Wasuruko Hindi Masataka Antuk Eat Mashutro Ndande. So that beautiful dragon is actually signing on every room in your house right now, and on the floor, on the ceiling, on all of the walls. These signs, the signage, this light language signing is clearing, cleansing, and attracting abundance. We're bringing that in as well. Love, joy, and health as it clears. Ki Lakshmi, Lakshmi Kaawu, Nahendi Makadashonde Mdeu. Releasing, removing all obstacles. And in the fields of the people in the homes, Kushakayeki, these beings with their permission, will clear as well. Through time, space, dimensions, realities. Gyandamaso Kuyada Adaka, all dimensions, past, present, future. Mundakaeti and Asorotoi. And the property lines, your garden, Sukoti Niara, Oandi, Mushahandi Mapu Kuyakana Kaiki.
We send immense love and gratitude, acknowledgement to any souls that may have been stuck here on earth for reasons unbeknown to them most often. We thank you for all you are, for all you have done. And we now open up a pathway for you to go back to spirits, go back to your soul families, that you may, start a new cycle of incarnation or choose any other vehicle of divine self-expression that is most in alignment for you right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Placing violet flames at all the corners of your house. Restoring all electrical structures in your house. The energy field of your house, so that all may return to its pristine, divine source self. You may sit in this space for as long as you wish, perform any rituals, or do any invocations that you're called to. And whenever you're done, just place your hands on your heart, and the Akashic record of your house, your space, will close automatically.
I just did a little question at the end there. I said, is this done? Is it complete? Is it in alignment? And I get a yes, and that's when we know we're ready to close. And we can just say, I now close this vortex, this sacred space is closed. All is clear, all is well. I bathe in the love and the peace and serenity of my space. Thank you. You can even go around and do gratitude and appreciation to every room. Thank you, sitting room. I love you. Thank you, bedroom. I love you. Do this, whatever feels good. Back home to the body. Thank you, Kim. That was, whoa, I can just feel it. Even in my own body is clearing. Does that make sense? Like I can feel it clearing me too. My home.
Yeah, it does. And after these type of clearings, know that your body and your house are acting at a like for like energy frequency. So when your house is upgraded, your body will also upgrade over the next couple of days. So consider this a powerful energy healing. So drink plenty of water, eat plenty of veggies and fruits and all the nourishing things that you can do for yourself. Go out into nature, have a beautiful bath, do all the beautiful things, because your body is going to upgrade automatically by osmosis. So yeah.
I love that. We overlaid these codes with abundance and prosperity. So just to let you know that your manifestation abilities and bringing forth joy, health, and abundance are included in this transmission. It's a clearing and an activation upgrade. And while Kim was bringing through hers, you know, if you play with light language, and I know so many of you do, bringing through a written transmission for this space, you can see the dragons came in, you can see the clearing in opening the vortex, and lots of angelic frequencies and upgrades there as well. So it can look any which way. You don't have to speak it out. You can draw it out. You can write out your intentions. Bless it. It's a blessing of joy and clearing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you have to go, Kim. Thank
No,
you.
thank you so much.
Can you quickly share your offering? Do you have time for that? Or would I?
Yeah, I have a
Yeah?
few more minutes. No, that's okay. Yeah, my offerings change all the time, but at the moment, my latest heart creation is the fact that I'm sharing cacao medicine more widely, teaching others, well, sharing the wisdom that I have so that others can create their own versions of cacao ceremonies, because this heart medicine is so, so, so needed. So even though I don't have a next date live yet, follow me on Kim Ruwa Medicine Woman on Instagram or on Facebook, or connect with me here. Check out my website, kimruwa.com. If you need support with a house clearing, of course, reach out as well. If you have any questions, I do all kinds of healings. They're all on my website. You can just have a little browse around. And yeah.
And I'm going
So
to
much to
post
share.
your details. They're not all there yet, but they'll be there, ladies and gents. When you're watching this, I'll post them up in the comments section there for Kim, so you can easily access her offerings. Thank you again, and thank you so much for our co-creation, and you know, the play that we have when we're working together. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your light language.
You're so welcome. And thank you for being the person that opened me up to light language. I just wanted to touch on that as well, because we hadn't yet. Not knowing what I was going into before I signed up to level 1, I was like, yeah, no idea. And my ego still sometimes is like, light language? Like, really? Are you serious? That's part of the process, everyone. Whoever has started or is starting, it will shift and change over time. You are such a magical woman, and I thank you so much for the divine intuitive transmissions that you bring through. Like, seriously, so, so grateful that Pussy Awakening by Anna Loza brought us together. That was the name of the
Pussy
course.
Awakening it
Just
was.
saying. I literally have the elixir, the Pussy Awakening elixir with me here. So just saying, divine feminine energy is coming through. So yeah, if you feel called to sign up, sign up. Know that it brings with, or it can bring with it, some serious shifts that you may not always like.
The dark, the shadow. I mean, that's what's worked
Confrontations.
on. Yeah. Thank you, Kim.
And you're so welcome. And I bring through some light language in my cacao training and my cacao ceremonies whenever I'm called to as well. So yeah, it's just next level. It's so good.